I'm making a quick note of the fact that I am getting tortured to my entire left side of my face, from my ear all the way over to about here, actually more like over here, and then all the way down probably through my neck and over about this far. So this entire block of area, and then past it just covers my ear and goes about that much. And I've mentioned before, because I've put up some scans or slides of CTs, and they are not very, they're probably not the best. CTs will show you a lot of things, but not always everything. There are a lot of things that are easily hidden, really hard to pick up. And sometimes MRI is better for that. Sometimes a PET scan is a lot better, PET scan, PET. But I did put up a couple of clips of information on the blog that I have, and I'm not sure that it shows that much about my ear, but I think it does show some things. And I also showed a CT of my neck, and it does show that I have a hole. There's a mark you can see on the CT that indicates there's some sort of a round mark on that CT. And that is actually, a doctor would know probably, or a radiologist, by looking at it. But for other people who don't regularly look at those kinds of things, like myself, you might not really know what is that. Is that just like is that just a natural kind of a thing that we all have, or is that a strange anomaly that Cameo has, or what is that? And it's actually a mark from a hole that was pushed into my neck, because at one point in my life I had a man, literally I was awake, which is really unbelievable to me. But I was completely awake. I was not sedated at all. And I am hoping that I had painkillers for someone to do something like that. But I'm not even quite sure that I did. I don't know if I was sort of in shock and I just happened to be awake and remember the whole thing. But I had a tracheotomy thing pushed into my neck, and it wasn't a regular tracheotomy. It wasn't like it was not like someone just jabbed this surgical looking instrument into my neck while I was fully awake, and then put a tube in there or something. What actually happened is that, it's just really unbelievable. It's almost just unbelievable to me that I have survived most of the things I've survived, because they're really horrific things. Some of these things that have been done. And but he jabbed a sharp stick, not stick, but like maybe a metal tube, into my neck, and it was just like boom, right into my neck. And then once it was there, he was looking through the other end of that tube, and he had this tiny little metal, I don't know what it was. It was like this long metal stylus type of a thing, like a I don't know, like maybe this long. Like the tube was I want to say approximately about this long. It was just slightly shorter than that, but it was like, it wasn't a tiny little thing that just stuck out a little bit. But maybe once it was in, it didn't look too much. Didn't look very long. But the other metal thing that he was inserting into that metal tube was maybe this long. It was at least that long. It was very narrow, thin, and there was a tiny little thing on the end of it, and there was something. It was either burned and branded into something, or something was stuck on it, or there was some sort of an acid on it. I guess if I think about it more, I might remember more precisely. But through this tube, which was very narrow, was not wide at all. I mean, I'm going to say it was probably like literally the just a little bit wider than the end of this pen, and then that little metal thing was like, you know, about the size of this little of the pen interior, you know, the ink keeper that is inside of a pen, and it would just fit in, and then he could pull it out and whatever. He was then touching the very back of my neck. I could feel it when he did it. I felt like something burning into my neck. And so he accessed some spot in my neck with a metal prodder thing, and then burned something like a hole into my neck. And at the time I thought he was maybe either someone had already implanted like a little device down my neck, or I thought maybe he was sticking something there into that spot. I wasn't quite sure, but at some point there was a burning sensation. So whether it was from the metal being heated or having an acid on it, and I think it was more of an acid type of a thing, because I don't remember something hot like a heat plate or anything like that next to it. And he inserted it into my neck and burned a hole in my neck. And the crazy thing is that I was awake for that. And the other weird thing about it is that the DEA was there. You know, like, sorry, but why is the Department of Drug Enforcement guy here watching this happen to me? And some other really strange individuals were there. I mean, it was like it was horrible, basically. Don't remember that I know that I had a mask over my face for some time, and I did have a tube. Maybe it was a tube after that. Then they put a tube into my neck, and then they put a mask over my face. I couldn't talk or anything. After my throat was burned, and I wasn't able to eat through that. I think they stuck another tube in through my belly button. And that's how I was being fed while this hole in my neck was supposedly healing. And anyway, this evidence is on the CT CAT scan that I did upload. And like I said, I would not expect most people to catch it, because it's not really obvious to find. But it doesn't exactly look like a perfectly round hole anymore either. It looks more like an upside down dove. It looks like a bird shape. It's kind of like someone's decided to do some little artwork in the middle of my neck. So I have that kind of an implant. I also have an ear implant in my left ear. And I think that ear implant in my left ear has been there for a very long time, possibly since I was a baby. I don't remember the exact surgery when that was done. I remember different times when people were doing other things in addition to that to my ear. Like I was fully conscious and awake when someone was putting a wire, very, very thin wire, and I had to hold completely still. And they would insert a wire all the way in through my ear, and then it would disappear. I mean, where that wire was going, I really don't know. And when they pulled it out, I'm not quite sure. But there were a couple of other times where I had, like I say, these wires going into my ears. And then suddenly disappearing and being completely concealed. But aside from that, there is an object that is inside of my ear, and it makes noise occasionally, and it supposedly picks up on everything that I say. At the time, someone once referred to it as a hearing device, but I'm not deaf. I was never deaf. And I know that the United States government has used me as like some sort of a walking surveillance machine. And a lot of the time I just forgot about it, because when you've had that in your body for such a long time, and most people in the world or in the United States would deny something like that happening to a person, and most normal people just never would think about that with themselves. It's almost like you adjust and adapt to what people tell you to adapt to. So when people tell me constantly as a kid, no, you don't have such a thing, and then they force you to forget, then you are sort of forced to forget, and really did forget. I mean, it wasn't like I was walking around fooling people and knowing the whole time, yes, I have this wire in my ear, or this bugging device in my ear. I really did not think about it because I was forced pretty much not to think about it. And if I did think about it or bring it up, I was sometimes tortured. I was punished by being called crazy, or no, that's not possible, there's no such thing. Or I was, if I kept insisting, maybe I'd get a shot, because sometimes I was given shots that sedated me, or would drug me, and then when I woke up, they put me into a different plane of consciousness and talk about other things and try to distract me and have me on a completely different plane where I'm thinking of different things. But yes, I definitely had something happen to my neck. I could have had an implant there. I may still have one there, but I know that there was a burning process that happened inside my neck. I also do know that there is an implant inside this left ear, and there's possibly a wire that goes down which gets access. I also have a couple of cavities that contain some copper, and it's very highly it's conductive. And so whenever there's any kind of sonar or different kinds of technologies, certain things have been tried on me which are very painful. And that affects the fillings. It affects the ear implant where I was tortured in my neck. And then I also have a spot underneath my chin here where I believe there is something else, and it makes that area hurt very badly. So anyway, this whole area of torture here and causing pain was done to me in 2 years ago, beginning in October and all the way through January. And then I had a tooth blasted out, and it wasn't like a whole painful process because of this tooth. It was that the tooth fell apart after high pressure and electroconductivity in my teeth for several months. And I had excruciating pain all the way through my neck to this area where I was punctured. And then last year that was not done to me, but then this year, with the exact same timing, beginning in October, exact same timing as 2 years ago, this whole thing has been started up again. And this is when I'm doing these video series again. So I'm tired, and I haven't been able to sleep all night because I've been tortured all night. And so I've been up. And that is why this last lesson, I think, it was not going as smoothly, because I'm tired. And I'm going to stop this here because I have to edit some of this out now.